Contest number 112 shortlist? Contemporary creative nonfiction inspirational girl you want. I met the girl of my dreams last week. I was away at college in Pennsylvania, attending my residency, a 10-day reprieve from the Florida heat, my husband, and my kids. The first time I saw her, she was chatting on her cell phone in the restroom. I caught her reflection in the mirror and smiled. She didn't seem to notice or was too wrapped up in her conversation to wave back. No matter, I thought. I was busy. Myself. The next time I saw her, she was in class, reading aloud a rough draft of our latest assignment. The piece she shared was raw and edgy, and she made no apologies for raising her voice, nor did she seem to feel remorseful for speaking her mind. My eyebrows raised into high arches as she read aloud words I could never utter. It was brave of her to share something honest, but I blushed when she dropped the F-bomb instead of saying frick or fudge or even the F-word, as a good suburban mother would have done. Good moms don't swear, I'm constantly reminded. One sunny afternoon, I caught her downtown. She'd gone for a run and had the glistening sheen of sweat on her brow. I stood in the shadows, the scent of grilled onions and car exhaust wafting through the air, and watched her snap endless pictures of city things I'd taken for granted: turrets on stately Victorian mansions, abandoned birds' nests, strings of rainbow-colored graffiti. She photographed signs in windows, construction site porta-potties, withering flowers, and spiky wrought iron grates. Everything seemed to captivate her attention. Everything, except me. Late one evening, I ran into her at a party. She was sitting crossed-legged on a stain-encrusted carpet in one of my classmates' apartment. Originally, I had talked myself out of attending the gathering. It was late, I was mentally exhausted, there was a mountain of incomplete homework teetering on my desk, but that little voice, one hears and sometimes abides by, urged me to go. So I went, and there she was, sitting on the floor, seemingly relaxed and carefree, not consumed with worry or carpet stains or homework mountains or her appearance. The shadows beneath her eyes were imagined badges of honor. The cup she held had a half-moon red lipstick mark. Still watching her, I licked my own lips and sipped my wine. Cheap stuff. Syrupy sweet. Inferior to the standards of the ersatz sommeliers, aka, mom acquaintances, back in my suburban gated community. This gal drank too much. Laughed too loudly. A bearded dude, wearing an emo band shirt, sat cross-legged beside us on the floor. He strummed a guitar and sang mournful lyrics to a song I recognized from the radio. Partygoers bobbed their chins and tapped their fingers, keeping time with the beats. I followed along. Mystery Girl swayed side to side. When the song ended, she got to her feet, zigzagged through the crowd, and headed to the balcony. Again, I followed. I always follow. Outside, the air was crisp and held the ghost aroma of distant burning fires. I shivered and turned my back to the wind, regretting having left a warm coat back in my room. Over at the railing, the wild girl lit a cigarette, inhaled, and slowly exhaled. Wispy white smoke trails coiled up to the sky. What was she doing? Didn't she know smoking was bad? Had she seen those scary commercials of people with holes in their throats? Didn't she care? Didn't she worry? I always worry. The twinkle in her eyes and her playful laugh indicated she didn't bother fretting over such things. Back inside the apartment, I positioned myself so I could have a better view of Smoker Girl. She didn't seem bothered when I sauntered over and leaned against the wall. Was my proximity too close? Was that socially unacceptable? Suburban moms would have opinions about these things. I never knew where I stood. Inching to the right, I caught snippets of her conversation. As she retold a story to a small crowd, her hands flailed in exuberant animation. Her voice rose and fell. People leaned in to hear what she said. They were hooked, as was I. When the crowd dispersed, I made a bold move. I wrapped my fingers over hers and held my breath. 1, 2, 3 beats. She dipped her chin, lifted it halfway, and nodded. What did that mean? The next time I saw her, she was running in the rain. It was the eve of a banquet, and I was late for the formal dinner. Brave Girl was dressed in sleek high heels and a dress with a plunging neckline. Fabric was gathered at the hip with a shiny gold buckle. The dress too revealing. Inappropriate for inclement weather, but I watched, mouth agape, mesmerized with the way she splashed through puddles, carefree and giggling. She reminded me of my neighbor's toddler, dressed in a yellow slicker, blue galoshes, splashing in mud puddles. Brave Girl didn't seem to worry about her ruined shoes, her flattened hair, her soggy dress, being late for the
Contest hang 112 shortlist. Contemporary creative NONFICTION inspirational girl you want I met the girl of me dream last week. He was away at college in Pennsylvania, attending my residency, at anxiety retreat from the Florida hit me husband, and me kid. The first time he saw her, she was chatting on her cell phone in the restroom. He caught her reflection in the mirror and smiled. She didn't seem to notice so was to wrap up in her conversation to way back. No matter, he thought, he was busy. Myself, the next time he saw her, she was in class reading aloud a rough draft of our latest assignment. The piece she said was raw and edgy, and she made no apology for raising her voice, nor did she seem to feel remorseful for speaking her mind. My eyebrow raised into high as she said she read aloud what he could never utter. It was brave of her to say something honest, but he blushed when she dropped the F-bomb instead of saying freak or fat or even the F-word as a good suburban mother would have done. Good mom don't swear, I'm constantly reminded. One sunny afternoon, he caught her downtown. She gone for a run and had the glistening scene of sweat on her brow. He stood in the shadow, the scent of grill onion and car exhaust wafting through the air, and what her snap endless picture of city thing I taken for granted tarot on stately Victorian mansion, abandoned but nest string of rainbow color graffiti. She photographed sign in window, construction site porta potty, withering flower, and spiky wrought iron grate. Everything seemed to captivate her attention. Everything except me. Late one evening, he ran into her at a party. She was sitting cross-legged on a stained crushed carpet in one of my classmates' apartments. Originally, he had talked myself out of attending the gathering. It was late, he was mentally exhausted. There was a mountain of incomplete homework teetering on my desk, but that little voice, one here and sometime a bye-bye, urged me to go. So he went, and there she was, sitting on the floor, seemingly relaxed and carefree, not consumed with worry or carpet stain or homework mountain or her appearance. The shadow beneath her eye were imagined but the soft honor. The cup she held had a half-moon red lipstick mark. Still watching her, he licked me on lip and sipped me wine. Cheap stuff, syrupy sweet, inferior to the standard of the exact sommelier, aka, mom acquaintances, back in me suburban gated community. This gal drank too much, laughed too loudly, a bearded dude wearing an emo band shirt sat cross-legged beside us on the floor. Has strummed a guitar and sang mournful lyrics to a song he recognized from the radio. Partygoers bobbed their chin and tapped their finger, keeping time with the beat. He followed along, mystery girl sweat side to side. When the song ended, she got to her feet, zigzagged through the crowd, and headed to the balcony. Again, he followed, he always followed. Outside, the air was crisp and held the ghost aroma of distant burning fire. He shivered and turned me back to the wind, regretting having left a warm coat back in my room. Over at the railing, the white girl lit a cigarette, inhaled, and slowly exhaled. Wispy white smoke trail coiled up to the sky. What was she doing? Didn't she know smoking was bad? Had she seen those scary commercials of people with holes in their throat? Didn't she care? Didn't she worry? He always worried. The twinkle in her eye and her playful laugh indicated she didn't bother fretting over such things. Back inside the apartment, he positioned myself so he could have a better view of smoker girl. She didn't seem bothered when he sauntered over and leaned against the wall. Was my proximity too close? Was that socially unacceptable? Suburban mom would have opinion about this thing. He never knew where he stood. Inching to the right, he caught snippet of her conversation. As she retold a story to a small crowd, her hand flew in exuberant animation. Her voice rose and fell. People leaned in to hear what she said. They were hooked as was she. When the crowd dispersed, he made a bold move. He rubbed me finger over hers and held me breath. 1, 2, 3 beat. She dipped her chin, lifted it halfway, and nodded. What did that mean? The next time he saw her, she was running in the rain. It was the eve of a banquet, and he was late for the formal dinner. Brave girl was dressed in sleek high heel and a dress with a plunging neckline. Fabric was gathered at the hip with a shiny gold buckle. The dress too revealing, inappropriate for inclement weather, but he was more agape mesmerized with the way she splashed her puddle carefree and giggling. She reminded me of my neighbor toddler, dressed in a yellow slicker, blue galoshes, splashing in mud puddle. Brave girl didn't seem to worry about her ruined shoe, her flattened hair, her soggy dress being late for the